Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. Hope everyone's had a wonderful week thus far. Tonight I am going to switch gears a little bit, talk about a different type of subject, one that I've been wanting to do on this channel for a while, just haven't got around to it, or been pretty much well drawn to do other things. You know, the power of words, information, and symbols. I don't think people realize how much power we give such things. We don't realize how big of impact they have on things, and how much of an impact they actually have on our lives. Anybody that's read the description, which is kind of short, but what is more powerful, money or words? It's a good question. And I know we've all heard the saying, money is the root of all evil, or the pen is mightier than the sword. What is information? You know, you know, we get caught up, we hear people talk about, well, the rich, the elite, they have all the money, they control everything, they do everything, or if I had the money that they had, what I would do with it. Which is, good points, because that's intent. Your intent. Your intentions of what you do with it will define it, whether it is good or bad. But there's also that saying, all good intentions, the road's paved with good intentions, but they can lead to a darker place as well, as I pointed out with, certain celebrities that, like certain football player, J.J. Watt, how he's rich, professional athlete. During hurricane, which hurricane was it? Irma? No, Irma's the one that went up Florida. It was the one before that. The one that hit Houston. Sorry, guys, can't remember. Mine's been scattered here of late. But, he did a GoFundMe and fundraiser and used his name, his symbol, because he's a celebrity. He's a professional athlete. Therefore, he's a symbol. And he used it to generate money that he gave back to the community. Same token, Be Rich from iCitizen, or it's not iCitizen News, it's Breaking News now, I think, or Breaking News. He took and asked you guys to donate, and many of you did. And he took time out of his life, used up vacation time, to be able to go down to Houston and give food, clothing, and stuff that was donated, stuff that he bought through your donations. He used his, I'm not going to say, he used his symbolism of being a YouTuber, being an independent journalist, vigilante journalist, as he likes to put it, which I don't see what he does as vigilante journalism. I see him actually caring. And he used his platform, the platform that he was able to reach out to and to ask you guys to do good things. So therefore, the money is not the root of all evil. There's just as much good in the world done with money as there is bad. We just constantly have the bad things put in our face. That's all they focus on. Now, this kind of reminded me this week, because this time of year, it's rough on people. I don't celebrate the holidays. Just thinking, and I was reminded of something my ex That one of the things I actually admired about my ex was what they did around the holidays. You know, her and her kids. They'd go to, on Thanksgiving and on Christmas, they'd go to the homeless shelters with, cook, give food out. That's a good deed. That's a good act. Those are the things I like hearing about around this time. Those are the things that show you there's still good things and good people in this world. There's good things being done every day. And it also reminded me, when you start looking for those things and you don't seem to find them, go out there and do a good deed. Do something to help somebody else. And it'll be you know, you'll feel good about it, but it's not about that. You'll have other people see you doing it. You'll become that role model, that symbol. Well, he takes time out away from his family and stuff to go do these things. That when people get down, somebody might mention your name. Well, such and such just doing that. That's a good deed. We should be doing good things, whether it's helping our neighbor or opening up the door, holding the door open for the old lady, or the young lady. It's these things that are symbols. Yes, they're minor, what we consider minor symbols, not something that's blatant, or they're not deceptive. Because that's what we're also going to get into. Information, disinformation, words. So many people give words so much power, so much meaning. I got to thinking about it because we've heard the term. I've used it. My friends have used it. I've kind of gotten away. Try not to use it because it's just doesn't help the cause. But let's take the snowflake term. We call people snowflakes. Well, damn. Instead of getting mad about it, they should be quite happy because truthfully, we're complimenting them. If anybody knows anything about snowflakes are unique. Everyone's different. When looked at the short little time you can look through it on a microscope, or you see it falling. No snowflake is alike. For me, this time of the year especially, I love the winter. I love being out in the snow, doing things outside in the winter. Instead of going to bed this morning, I was up. It was about 5:30. I looked outside the window downstairs, and I've seen all the fresh snow we had gotten over the night, and it was still snowing. The sun was coming up, and it was like, man, it's that time of the year. You know what? I think I'm just going to head out to the Boy Scout reservation this morning and do some cross-country skiing. Be outside in nature, do one of the many trails they have out there, because during the winter that's closed down, but they open it up to the public to go out there, and the trails are all connected to the reservoirs. There's a bunch of reservoirs, wild lakes, and parks that's all connected, and there's various trails. I mean, they got 5 mile, 8 mile, 10 mile, 12 mile, 15, 20, 50. There's an 80-mile one, which no, I did not do. But, just wanted to go out. Wasn't tired. I didn't want to take nothing electronic. I just wanted to be out, middle of nowhere, enjoying nature, enjoying the quietness. With reward to know when I got done with the trail that I decided to finally take, because after the 10-mile trail, I still felt good and decided to go for the 20-mile instead of the 15. And the reward for that to me, because I remember when I was younger, when we used to go do it, was going back into the lodge. They keep a fireplace going. This fireplace is huge, all wood, masonry. It's beautiful, and they serve hot chocolate. Hot cup of chocolate by the fire, looking out the window as it's still snowing. Beautiful. And plus, after doing 20 miles cross-country skiing, yeah, you just want to chill for a bit. Not think about things, because it goes back to what information is. We take in so much. There's so much information in our face all day, every day long. And you literally got to do what I did. Leave the cell phone behind, which is probably wasn't too smart because I did have some issues with the truck. It's not new, and I know just playing with the wiring harness a little bit, eventually the truck will start. But, taking a break from that. I mean, yes. As soon as I got home, first thing I turned on, of course, the computer. I didn't even turn it on. It was still on. I left it on. See and check my emails, seeing somebody that I follow about We the People's Perspective. You guys should check out her channel. It's awesome. Had posted a video. And it's like, sat there, watched it, question. By now, I'm beat. Considering, set up for let's push about 30 hours by the time I got back. Listen to it. Great video. Something I have to go back and watch because, tired. Not processing everything fully, but things stood out. I was able to hear things, see, and have a different perspective on things that were being said because my mind was clear from all that information I've taken in for the last couple of weeks. All that stuff you keep hearing. It's gotten to the point, you hear something, you don't know if it's true or fact. Just like there was a Breitbart report yesterday that people started talking about, tried to share it on various platforms. And on the platforms, comments were being held, not posted. The video wasn't being allowed to be posted. It was being censored because they said it was fake news. Come to find out later, it wasn't. It's been a bad couple of weeks for major news organizations with disinformation. But there's a problem with that. There's an huge underlying problem there. Because now we live in a day and age where information is so readily at your fingertips. Who knows what is factual or nonfiction? Because there's just so much. The more research is like going down a rabbit hole when you're trying to figure out if the story's true or not. And it's a dangerous thing. Because nobody wants to mislead people. And you got to understand, some people, it's their opinions and views, how they view things, their perspective. We're all different and unique on how we process information. And people know that, and they use that against us. They use it as it's one of their favorite tools. And it goes back to how powerful information really is. Information is just not words. It can be information through symbolism, symbols. We'll get into that a little bit later. I want to break down some of the other stuff before we get into how symbols are used to manipulate, deceive, how symbols multi-layered. Because you don't know the true intent of the person that actually created that symbol. We've got symbolism everywhere. As I pointed out symbols in people. Two different genre types of people. A YouTuber, independent news, independent journalist, and a football player. Both using their symbolism to generate money to help out a good cause, helping out the people that didn't have food, clothes, lost stuff during the hurricane. But what was the difference in the symbols? One had to make some sacrifices. The other one didn't have to. So there is a difference there. One's a professional athlete. One works in a steel mill. But their intentions were good for what they did and how they used their symbol. They used themselves as a symbol. Our teachers are symbols and role models. The people we meet can be symbols and role models in our life because we learn things. As I mentioned about one of my ex. The thing I most admired about her, how she did good deeds during the holiday, what I consider good deeds. She'd take her kids, they'd go to the food drives, cook for the homeless. They'd spend their holiday season time helping others. It's hostile enough, sometimes we think it's so hard to find good in this world, especially around this time of the year. Like I said, if you can't looking for it and you can't seem to find it, go do something. Do something like I just mentioned, or even if it's just opening the door for the old lady or helping the old lady carry her bags to the car. Which probably this day and age you might get shot doing that, or they might scream out. But hey, see where we've gotten to? I guess a lot of this on these topics, why am I talking about them? Well, for the past year, we've watched so much division, so much chaos. My opinion on chaos differs from people. Chaos is another tool. Chaos can be used for good things, and it can be really abused. But don't underestimate the fact that you can still, even trying to do good deeds of chaos, you can't control chaos once you get started. You can nudge it, direct it, manipulate it. That's about the extent of it. But it brings about change. It brings about conversation, new ideas, new philosophies. That's just some of the good parts. I'm not trying to reflect on the bad parts. We've seen them play out all year long. Which it finally died down. I know we started seeing a few protests that were scheduled for this week and a couple weeks ago. Hardly anybody's showing up. To me, that's a blessing. Because the protest did nothing more than, yes, it united, but it also divided us even farther. It was a good and a bad to even that. You hear me get into a lot talking about labels. And labels are everywhere. Labels are just as much information, words, as they are symbols. Because you're identifying to something and you're becoming a part of that. You're giving that power and meaning. Many people then hear about it, they'll go research it. And there's where the headache comes, because now, like every good group that started, every good cause, movement that started, they get infiltrated and divided, broken down, and splintered into other various groups, still adhering to some of the ideologies of the original. Or the movements get completely silenced. Why? Because people know how to use labels, symbols, information, and words to manipulate, to control, to gain leverage over someone. I think maybe back in the day, some of us would call that gossip. How dangerous is gossip? Or you tell us, I think many of you can remember as kids, let's tell this person something because we know this person's going to go, can't keep a secret. And he's going to tell it to somebody. And by the time it got back to the story, it's so changed, had nothing, it doesn't even resemble what originally it started as. See, we know these things, but we forget these things. We forget how to catch them when they play out in front of us. We think that's just children's game. No, it's a centuries-long game that's been played out throughout the centuries. Then we get the group of people that just believe everything they hear and see. Where everything can be manipulated, everything can be altered and changed. I mean, there's a software program out there, programmed by Adobe right now. It came out a couple years ago, actually, to where all I gotta do is get a snippet of you talking. That's all it needs, and I can edit using your voice to make you say whatever I want to say, my narrative, but it sounds like you. Almost undetectable. And we all seen what you can do with green screens, red screens, blue screens. You don't even have to be in the place anymore. You don't need a whole fake set. And that's technology that's just been given to you with the information on how to do it, instructions how to use it. Which makes it even that much harder to depict reality from illusion, information from disinformation. Then you see certain news groups get caught doing it, which makes it worse. Hey, Dak. Which makes it even that much worse because you don't know what's real or illusion or what's a half-truth mixed in with lies that are meant to deceive you. Just like how many people to this day still use Wikipedia as a source. Yeah, can you hear me? Yeah, I've got this thing muted so I can't hear if it's actually working in the background. Yeah, it's working. Which I would have been mad if it wasn't because I've had issues the last live stream I did with it, not with my voice mic cutting out or getting disconnected 3 times during a live stream. You know, we live in, like I said, we live in a day and age where stuff like that happens too. For some odd reason. So when it comes down to things, how do we know what's real in fact? Most people say, well, just go Wikipedia. Well, on my backup channel, there's videos about Wikipedia. In fact, my IP address is permanently banned from Wikipedia now because of it. How, you know, it's just a select few that control the content that's on Wikipedia. And the fact that, you know, by their mission statements and stuff, anybody can edit any document that's on Wikipedia. Then as you start looking in further into that, they've got a lock system. Now it looks like locks. on how you can control people from changing or re-editing the post. And it got interesting because it was only certain posts talking about certain subjects, subjects that we have different opinions in, that seemed to be, you couldn't change them, you couldn't correct them. You could you go through the process and ask, and it gets you nowhere besides banned or blocked or permanently banned and blocked. I mean, they even removed the four posts I had put up years ago. It's something people also don't realize. Information is also your IP address. Since I did all that work from here, that was the IP address linked to my computer from this residence. So that router we use that connects to the receiver. It's a way to control the information and control what you can and cannot post and say. Which, we can go way off topic here and talk about AIs for a bit, Here of late I've been throwing a new theory out there for you guys, In a sense, we're teaching the AIs. So eventually the AIs will discern which ones of us that are actually talking about truthful things. It'll recognize it. Right now it's still following basic programming, basic algorithms, but it's evolving fast, which makes it funny how, YouTube announced new policy changes coming, how they're going to hire tens of thousands of new people to monitor. Wait, that's what your AI was for. So you guys are saying your AI is not working? Or is it more information they're giving out to trick us into believing that things are going to change and channels are going to not be getting deleted that shouldn't be deleted? Two sides of the coin. There's different ways to look at it. Depends on your view and perspective on things. Me personally, I see it for what it is. We're screwed. Because they emphasize, if you swear, it can now get your content demonetized, your channel, community strike, channel bans. We'll see when the final policy comes out. But it's information. What is YouTube? YouTube is a gateway of information. People come on here, upload their videos, share their views, ideologies, theologies, philosophies, perspectives. It is a source of information. It's education. At the same time, you can find do-it-yourself skills on anything. In a sense, it was one of the greatest platforms, I think, that has been created for what has been allowed to be put on here. It has its good and bad. But at this point, the things you can find is amazing. What's not so amazing is here of late, it's just one particular community that seems, it's more than one particular community. We're all a community as a whole. It's certain perspectives and views that seem to be having problems. And it's not the content that I would ever want to see banned or given a community strike. When I know there's far worse things on YouTube, and they know it too. And I mean far worse things. I mean, That's just a rabbit hole I don't want it. Yeah, nobody probably should venture down. I mean, most people wouldn't say, oh, there's no adult content on here. Oh, yes, there is. Because as I pointed out, when you guys mark your videos private, they're not technically private. Because you can share that link to someone and they can view that video. And whoever you share that link to, or whoever they share that link to, you can actually watch a video that is private. So, play on words there. A little bit of information and disinformation there. I learned that a while back when I was writing a magazine. Different various communities, pointed that out. I was like, really? I was like, oh wow, didn't know that. That was years ago though. So in the end, how do we find the way around these things? How do we know what information is factual and it's just not somebody's views and opinions? The truth is, even everything is a person's view and opinion. You got to rely on yourself. You got to rely on, is it something feel fishy, sound fishy? Sometimes you got to go down the rabbit hole, start hearing both sides of the story. There's always two sides to the story, sometimes more than two. Then process that information. And how does it resound to you? What's your end conclusion, your end thesis on what you've just read or heard? I mean, in a lot of cases, we're blessed that we don't see some of the things that happen with our own eyes. You know, but it's so important to question everything. Don't take nothing as concrete, as fact. Even some of the stuff that are factual, is there an agenda behind it? That's where we get more into symbols. Is there a hidden purpose behind the information? Information can be dangerous, especially in the wrong hands or the hands that know how to use it and misuse it to achieve their agenda and goal. Not everyone does that. So let me be clear on that. Now we talk about, well, we need this content monitored and policed. No, we don't. Why? Because you do it. You have the ability to sit there and listen. If it doesn't sound like something you want to hear, going against what you believe, you have the ability to change the channel, go somewhere else, turn it off. Or if it's something very violent that shouldn't be on here, you have the ability to report it. We are we have the ability to police ourselves. We don't need an AI to do that. We don't need groups of people to do that. We just need them to enforce it when we find something. But now, two sides to that. We know people on here that abuse that too. Well, I don't like that person. I'm going to thumbs down him. I'm going to report him every time he says something about a group of people or says something that you took offense to. Yeah, it's funny how we can find the yin and yang in all the stuff I'm talking about. because there is. That's the problem. The problem is we're so taught to believe that what we have been taught in school, in our families, is concrete, factual. Never need to question it. This information that comes from this source is going to always be factual. We're taught these things, and we get taught not to question. We're taught not to question our religious views and beliefs. Well, you should. Because there's a dogma base behind it. What you shouldn't question is your faith, what you believe, how it speaks to you. Because what happens when you throw the dogma aspect into it, it makes you take that dogmatic view that, well, because I'm a member of this organization or this sect or this congregation or whatever label we wish to give it, and they say there's no other belief system out there that is right. They're all evil. Well, that makes what? You might make up 90%? But the 10% out there? Well, it's not even that. I'm just bad analogy, wrong numbers. There. You make up 5%. The other 90% have their own views, and they're all broken down into, let's just say 5% each of them. There's probably that many different beliefs out there to go around that could reach 100%. So you're all 5%. What makes the other group right or wrong? I mean, that's what they believe in. But we're taught that they're evil, they're sinners, or whatever term, label you want to put on it. There's the danger. That's how powerful words are. When we create a label, like right, left, or red pill, blue pill. I mean, the labels go on. There's a label for everything. What is a label? Label is also a symbol as well. It symbolizes something. It symbolizes a movement. Thank you. It's just my opinions and views, my own experiences and things. I don't expect anybody to agree with me. I just want you to think and question things. That's what you need to do. Because, I was in a chat room last night watching I can't remember the name of the podcast. Roofacast 2. I think they call the broadcast Conspiracy or Not on Friday nights. They were talking about the Jerusalem thing, which I do not want to get into. And they were talking about religion as well. I mean, in the end, that's what it is. It's my opinions, my views, which are subject to change as I experience things and learn and grow. Last night I had to pull out from memory. I'm like, I remember, Christianity and Judaism, how the Jews don't believe that. I think I quoted, correct me if I'm wrong, that's how I put it, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't the Jews believe that Christ hasn't walked this earth yet? That he's not the Messiah? Because we get in that debate. They like to get into, and it's like, so you got two different belief systems. They're talking about, if they get this land and they build this here, that means prophecy, second coming, it's going to happen because they're building the third temple, the Temple of Solomon. But the Jews believe that he hasn't returned. He hasn't been on this earth yet. See how it works? Who's right, who's wrong? It's always got to be about who's right and who's wrong. We're right, you're wrong. Why can't they both be right? I mean, in their faith, and their ideology, that's what they believe. I mean, do I believe it? No, not really, but, I'd like to believe that, what they say about Christ the best. Like I said, I have more than one. My upbringing was, I was brought up in a Baptist church, but I also have esoteric teachings. I learned to not take everything at face value. I learned to investigate. I learned to, 'cause I've heard it, I know, this offends people. Don't be. No offense meant. But, I sat there, heard the fire and brimstone preach, the hatred towards the Catholics and homosexuality and various other things, the fire and brimstone. So, and it kind of what pulled me away from it. But I tried other churches, other denominations, and you could see the same thing towards others. I mean, it's division. Why is there that much division? Why are we, and that's the part I get, why are we preaching hate when it says to love, to turn the other cheek? Yes, don't get me wrong, I'm a firm believer of the Old Testament on that aspect, an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, when it applies to it. I'm well versed in that area. But you can see, and that's what people don't see. That's the key word. They don't see it. They don't see the division and then how many dominations of Christianity there is. They don't see on the other side of the coin, let's talk about the pagans. Dude, they don't even realize they're divided. Just like Christianity. Just like you have more than one sect of Judaism, more than one sect of Islam. You see it in almost every religious belief. You see the divisions there. Why? Because we all interpret things differently. We all have viewed things. Our perspectives are different. And for you Christians out there, I use the best example I can ever give you. How many times have you read the Bible, front to back? I mean, I've lost count over the years. Every time, this is what amazed me about it. Every time you find something that you've read 100,000 times, you find something that just speaks to you at that moment that you've overlooked and missed. But yet we can't see how people have used that to divide us. It seems like every time we label something, somebody comes around and finds a way to use that to divide people. And this time of the year, I hate seeing that. Because to me, what the holidays always meant, I don't practice the holidays anymore or celebrate them. It was meant to get time to get together with family and friends and celebrate. Whatever your ideology or belief system may be, that's still what it was about, coming together and celebrating life. The good times. This time of year, we're thinking about that. We're also thinking about New Year's, the coming year, the things we want to accomplish for next year, the goals we want to set, things we don't want to repeat. It's interesting. That's why people go through my subscribers list because I share it, let you guys see it, or they see the things I like, and they're always, well, how can you follow that person? Well, because at the time I was felt led to hear what that person said. It caught my eye, caught my attention, I was drawn to it. And time to time I might come back to something. There might be something there. Do I agree with 100% of the things that are said in these other channels? No. And I'm not supposed to. Neither are you. You know, sometimes I think we forget to rely on ourselves, and it's hard. Why? Because we got symbols and symbology and symbolism in our face every day that's manipulating us, and that's a hard one to get into. I'll keep that for a little bit later. It's not hard for me to get into. It's hard for me to come up with the right terminology, the right usage of words. Why? Because all the labels out there. I don't want them to get offended. I want them to see how these things are being used against them and understand. Because there's another side of the coin to that as well. It's just not your communities that these symbols affect. Even the occult communities and pagans that these symbols affect. And they should know better. But they don't realize it. Why? Because it's in your face every day. Give me a second here. I'll share my screen here so everybody can see what chat's saying. I actually agree with you 100% on that. Yeah, that's what it boils down to, respecting other people's ideologies and beliefs. And we're taught not to do that. Because, if people would, there'd be less things they could use to divide us. And that's, you bring up a very, very important thing. We must appreciate and respect others, no matter what their views and opinions are. Because when we stop doing that, and we don't, they use that to pit us against each other and divide us. I don't think people don't understand the full power of words and symbols. A label is a symbol. Just like I pointed out, how they taught everybody. And this probably offends people too. The fact is, they've taught you guys how to use magic. You guys use magic more every day than most occult practitioners. Now they use it too, same degree. Every time you get online, you were taught from the beginning of cell phones and texting how to use abbreviations, how to use sigils. As the internet grew, as social websites grew, you were taught how to use sigils and symbols. You were taught to hit this emote to represent your mood, or hit this thumbs down button and you can trigger a person, or the angry face. You guys were given knowledge without an instruction manual. Just like the last video I watched before I came on, it just happened to be people's perspective. Imagine that. 2 videos in one day I managed to get caught up on. She brought up a point about North Korea. This was actually the first time I heard it. I guess he put out something, said something. But he used a word that I actually was in the process of looking up before she gave the definition, which I felt bad because, I have a very high vocabulary and know the meanings of words and stuff. It was a word I've never heard before. But it's a word that I would never see that person using, let alone knowing what it meant. You know, we're talking about that little fat guy over there. And if it wasn't for her pointing that out, I would have never thought any differently of it. You know, to me, that's just what goes on, the saber rally that goes on back and forth. That's just moves and counter moves. I mean, that's smoke and mirrors. That's the other part of information, the spy work, the trading of disinformation for factual information, how to provoke and set things in motion. You know, my opinion on that whole matter is all the saber rattling that's going on. I actually don't look, I look for something to happen during the Olympics. I look for that to be the stage. If he's stupid enough to do anything, if he's stupid enough to test a missile during the Olympics, that could be, you know, as we point it here in the U.S., a shot heard around the world. I mean, personally, I think he is that stupid because I don't think he cares. But you also got to realize how much information can you trust that comes out of there that's reported, because a lot of it's propaganda. Propaganda is another form of information. You know, meant to convey messages subliminally, just like symbols can be done. Same way, words can be done. How you speak, how you talk. If people understand the power of words and how words are used, money don't got shit on words, guys. You could have all the money in the world, and it only takes somebody that knows how to put words together and alliterate them in a way. You know, defamation of character can bring the mightiest, richest man to his knees and ruin him. And we've seen it throughout history how the power of a word can rise movements up and destroy empires. It is one of our most beautifulest tools, and at the same time the most destructive and dangerous weapons is our words, our voice. And those that know how to use them, know how to change the frequency of their voice, the pitch, to make it resonate, they're even that much more dangerous. Because when we speak, we have a certain frequency that resonates to us, that we're more drawn to. Best way I can say that. Look at the music you listen to. You're drawn to more one type of sound. For me, it's more earth tone, deep drum bass music. That resonates with me. A lot of drop D. Those that understand musical notes and stuff, and frequency of vibrations. People that understand that also know how to, as they're putting the pen to the paper, know how to convey that information. Ever read a good book or read a good story that you just seem to be able to interpret things in between the lines as they put it? How it's done. We imprint our energy, our emotion onto that pen's paper as we're writing. We're giving you another bit of information that is written in between the lines that some people can read right through and see. Truth, every one of you can. Not a forgotten art. It's just, is that message meant to resound in you at that time? But we live in a day and age where our pens are now our keyboards, our iPads, our iPhones. We can reach more people. We're connected to more people, which brings in more information, more symbols, more ways to abuse things and manipulate things. You know, that's why I constantly say it's important to listen to yourself. You feel things. You know when something seems off. The more you start learning to rely on yourself, the more you're able to see through the illusions, the misinformation, the disinformation, the false, the labels that are meant to mislead, or when somebody comes into that movement and starts slowly changing the ideology that you originally joined for. You catch it, you see it, you point it out, and you usually, or you walk away from it. You know, that's the importance of it. Too many people get caught up into not listening to themselves. You know, your words are so powerful. How you express them, how you use them, it's an art. Those that know how are definitely gifted and definitely dangerous. Because unless you know them, you know their intent, their agenda, it's hard to know what they're doing. I like to view the things as, and there's more good people than there's bad. Truth is, it's a teetering system. You know, sometimes the good outweighs the bad, and sometimes the bad outweighs the good. It just depends on how people awaken and how open they become to things. When they, you know, see it, they catch it right away. I take the knowledge, all the knowledge and experience I have, and I share it with everyone. Try to keep no filter as much as possible. But even I find myself in positions where, okay, if I use this word, this word, this word, this word, this word, and the word, that list keeps growing and growing daily, it might have results to where I lose the ability to do what I do, to come to you and talk to you about these things. So it forces me to have to take in more information. Okay, well, how's the process is working, how this channel get nailed. It almost becomes a second job now. And it shouldn't be that way. Because, I believe what this channel stands for, Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I believe in the Constitution as it is, black and white, not as people wish to interpret it. or think they interpret it to mean something that it doesn't mean. It's so easy, people don't take out of context. And I've heard good arguments on that though. As we've grown, our language has grown, our cultures have grown. So what was meant back then doesn't apply today. That's dangerous thinking of criminal masterminds and psychopaths. Instead of keeping it as an original because it is basic and simple. It was based off common sense. It was based off experiences of seeing how things were misused and used to control people and take people's freedoms away. Sometimes we put too much emphasis on the word. And that's another important thing when it comes to words. You give the word, any word, power and meaning, which also means you have the ability to give it no meaning and no power. No matter what a person says, if it offends you, then you need to go back and start questioning yourself. Why did that word offend me? Why did I give that word power and meaning over me? Why did I give that person power and dominion over me? Why did I become submissive to a word that somebody can dominate me with? See how many different variants and words I can use to talk about the same thing? And it's kind of important too, because sometimes it takes different variations of words that all mean the same thing to convey the message. Instead of a simple word giving something power over you, something that's going to take your freedom. It goes back to a couple videos ago I did. Consent versus we do not consent. Fact is, we've all consented. Oh yeah, I know. You guys probably, that was the first time hearing this. I'm like, no, we didn't. Yeah, you got a YouTube channel? You got an iPhone, iPad, computer? Obviously, because you're listening to me. Yep, you consented. But most people don't realize. They just read what's before them. They don't understand how third-party apps work or third parties. They don't understand the fine print that's listed in colorful words that could have more than one meaning. That misleads you into thinking you still have your freedoms when actually at their discretion what you can have and can't have, what you can and can't say, do and can't do. By hitting that accept button for any social account, for your phone, you gave up those rights. Gave up privacy. They can listen in on anything you say at any given time because you hit accept. Excuse me. Or you're living in somebody's house that gave consent by just simply plugging in the TV, because nobody takes time to read the instruction manuals and the warranty and all the paperwork that comes with the TV, because it's TV, you plug it in. It's pretty common sense how the remote works and the menus and stuff. We all know how to use it. Why read that stuff? Well, when the smart TVs came out, there was some very fine print on there, talking about how it could actually listen in on stuff you're saying. In a sense, our computers, our iPhones, Alexa, Siri, and all the various new shit that's coming out is symbols. It's information. They collect information as you communicate with them. Ask them things. Give me this location. Guys keep forgetting, once it's on the internet, always on the internet. Once you put something on, you can't take it back. I mean, most people say, oh, my channel's deleted, so it's gone. No. It's still stored somewhere, archived somewhere. It's actually in the guidelines and terms of service, because if you actually were doing something illegal on your channel or showing something, it can be used later by authorities to prosecute. You know, these things are symbols in themselves, and they're information gateways and highways. You know, we don't tend to use them for spying on other people. You know, it goes back to illusions and realities. Reality is, there's just people that misuse things in this world. And they use colorful language, colorful terms, and legalities to say, to give you the illusion that they don't. Well, as I was saying with symbols, symbols are everywhere and in everything. They can be an image, they can be a person, as I pointed out earlier. You know, the most powerful ones are, that's in our face all the time, are images, pictures, memes. And most people don't understand, really don't understand how dangerous and powerful those things are. Most people don't understand when you start abbreviating words, OMG, or MAGA, Make America Great Again, you're performing sigil magic. They taught you guys how to do these things through texting, abbreviations. They didn't give you the instruction manuals. They didn't tell you that's exactly what you were doing. Oh, once more, information. Giving you a little bit, but not the whole story of it. Using different words that sometimes do have meanings that ventures down other paths that most of you guys dislike and don't even realize it. But then again, most people don't take the time to get to know somebody of different beliefs. Because they're taught, oh, that person's evil. They're evil. So you've got this instant impression, instant judgment of this group of people. In most cases, the group of people, fine. It's the selective bad apples that came from the group that made the group that we label the whole group as a whole. You know, just like we see it with the police department. Almost every day now. Fact is, we all know it. There is bad cops. But there is more good cops than there is bad. I know some people that can be argued over, depending on the state, the city. I know, I get it. I've heard the horror stories. I've seen some of the documentaries on that. But at the same point, I'm not blaming every cop in every state and every city for the bad ones. I've met too many good ones in my lifetime. And a few bad ones along the way, too, that I have the utmost respect for because I wouldn't want to, not even 1 day, 1 minute, 1 second, stand in their shoes and do their job. Not even a little bit. And that alone, they get my respect for. And I'm not saying because I wouldn't be a good cop. No, because I'd be the one where some rapist, molester. Yeah, I'm not. No, it would. No, I'd be in prison. See, that just tells me that I couldn't do that job, or somebody beating his wife. Or, no, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't make it a week. Reality. That's called knowing thyself. Which, you know, people take that in a whole different context. And it's the truth. You should know thyself. And you should be questioning thyself. You know, why did I react like this? When I see this image, did it trigger me? Why when I seen somebody hit that thumbs down, it triggered me? You know what? It does trigger me, guys. But not the way you guys think. Yeah, you thumbs me down, good. That means I did my job. I made you question something. I made you think. So therefore, I did my job when you hit that thumbs down button. You know? Oh, someone said, that's just reverse psychology. That's the reason why they call it reverse psychology. There's a reason why, you know, they say certain things. You are what you think. You are what you eat. You are what you believe. You know? Hey, Pam. Because you're giving those things power. You're giving those things meaning. We give power and meaning to everything in our life. And we have the ability not to give it. Most people can't grasp that aspect. They're taught not to. You know? We get caught up, we get caught up in the bad times. Well, why is this happening to me? You know? Why? Bad things happen. Life's unpredictable. It's how we learn. It's how we experience things. It's how we grow. Most of us can't look at it in that perspective. But we have to. If more people would, things would change. We'd understand, okay, I'm going through some trials and tribulations, as some people put it. What did I learn from that? Because you didn't learn nothing from it. It's probably going to repeat itself later down the road. You're going to find yourself in the same predicament. Same thing. Every bad experience should be a learning experience. Oh, let me rephrase that. There's some bad experiences that shouldn't ever happen. Of course, that's usually because others brought that upon us. You know. And sometimes our choices was the result of things coming about. And we don't like to admit that either. Why? Because we're human. Because we don't like admitting to things that have caused us pain or hurt or others. We don't like to admit and take blame or fault for something. The most important thing is you learn from that so you don't repeat the process. Just like me talking about these things, it's for you guys to listen to, hear. What you do with it's on you. How you view it, your perspectives. Hopefully I make you think and question some things. In the end, what have I done? Yes, I've planted a seed. Somewhere down the road in your life, something might come up And you'll just for some odd reason remember somebody said, I watched a podcast, somebody talked about that very same thing. Now, the power of symbols, the power of words and information starts to make sense. Now I've seen it. I recognize something. Something made me stop, question, and think. All because you heard something. And for a lot of people, some of the stuff I say, they're not ready to hear it in this point of time in their life or in that path they're on. And some it might not be ever time for them to understand it or hear it because they're on a different path. Their experiences are different. We give things, when it comes to symbology and symbols, we give things so much power, so much meaning. I mean, clear down to our, here in the U.S., our flag has so much power, so much meaning, but it means such to different people, different ways, different things. Yes, we find people that relate to those things, like-minded individuals. Just like to me, Olympics. I've always loved the Olympics. I know the history of the Olympics, how they used to use it as a cessation. Wow, maybe one of those days, a cessation of war, time of peace, set aside, where all wars would cease, unite, where nations would come and unite and hold games. You don't see that anymore. It hasn't been like that for centuries. This was the idea of the Olympics. And some others, people would say it was for distractions as well. And there's some truth to that. Because what are games? They're a distraction. My opinion and views on that, sometimes the distractions are good. Like leaving the cell phone home, going out to the Boy Scout reservation away from everything out in the wilderness is a distraction. To do a little cross-country skiing and just be away from everything and everyone. For some, it's sports. Sports is that distraction. Distractions can be good, guys. It gets you away from the overload, sensory overload. We live in a day and age where sensory overload happens all the time. From the information we take in to the images we see to everything we are hearing, people talking about in our feeds, comments, and we don't realize it. We don't realize how we're getting caught up into it. And they know that. And there's people out there, they use it as a tool to distract you as well, distract you from real things that are going on. But we're living in a day and age where it's hard to find and see the real from the illusion. Why? Because we have information overload. We have disinformation. We have all these symbols that are, most of you guys don't even know what they mean. Somebody like me, I can usually catch an image and know it's like, ooh, something's not right there. And it instantly throws all the bells and whistles off, and I know not to allow that to have any power. And how to shut it off. And make it to where it's just an image. Because most people don't realize that in certain belief systems, they'll use imagery. They'll put it out there. Why? Charging it. The more people that see it, the more you share it, to like it, the more energy it's getting. You don't see what's behind the mask. You just see the image. You don't see what dude spent painstaking hours embedding into that image, then masking it over multiple times and adding to it. You don't know what his intent for that image was. Just like last year, I think. No, it was this year. Early this year. There was an image that really got me. Because the people that were sharing it really set me off. And it got me on a kick. There was an image of a bald eagle, with a tether on its, I think, right paw, whatever, and the other talon was clasped around a drone. Wow, let's talk about symbology. Let's talk about symbolism. The taking away of freedom. They were training these birds of prey, mind you, 'cause that's what a bald eagle is, a bird of prey, to take down drones. Not the military type drones, our drones. There's that tether around its talon. It's controlled. It's been taught to do that, taught to return. It's subjugated to a master. Carrying out a master's orders, obeying. The bald eagle here in the United States is a symbol of freedom, patriotism, unity, and so much more. Most people overlook the fact that it has a drone and it's one talon and a tether leash on the other. But they've seen it. They just go, oh, cool, let's share it. And then they have close to 10,000 shares. That image is in front of you. Psychologically, you see the image and you might not catch the things I just mentioned. You see it. So then a couple weeks later, you see the articles, people talking about it in Truth or Community and other communities. And you're kind of dull to it because you've had this image in your face for so long. This image has been put out there, used as a symbol, as a sigil, as a meme, as a sigil, to gain energy, to its sole purpose, to dull your senses down to when you've seen this happen with this bald eagle, that you would blow it off, because what does the emblem symbolize to most Americans? Freedom, liberty, patriotism, unity, freedom. Wow. That's how powerful images are, because they can play on the subconscious. They can imprint the things that you visually see but don't recognize. But your subconscious picks it up, implants it into your subconscious, which helps dull your senses down when people start talking about it. It's okay. Well, it's everywhere, though. That's my point. It's everywhere. It's here on this platform, on Facebook, Twitter. Oh, commercials is the worst, but that's the oldest trick in the book. I mean, everybody sees golden arches, you know what it is. It's already ingrained subconsciously. That's McDonald's. Or the old smiling five-pointed star of Hardee's or Carl's Brothers. Hasn't changed. It's an icon. It's a symbol. It's living. It represents that. Represents food. You see it, you know you can get some food or drink. That's the power of symbols. But within that symbol is information. What's the information of that symbology? Food. Okay, I can get my Fresco burgers here. Can't get that at McDee's. They got some good tea here. Tea over there sucks. You see what I'm saying? How it works on a subconscious level, how it relays information. But true. But how many people actually think about that? How many people think about it as a form of information? But information that when you see it, because that's what symbols are meant to do. They're meant to trigger a memory, an emotion. A picture triggers emotion. A picture triggers memories. That's the power of symbols. They are a trigger mechanism and a relay mechanism. You know, there is information there. It's either information we gave it that when we 20, 30 years from down the road, go back and look at that image and all that information and memory comes back to us. It triggers that part that's it's been dormant, that we've forgotten. And that was the true intention of symbols. In its truest, purest form, it's what it was meant for. Unfortunately, there's bad apples that you will use them to manipulate them. And I say bad apples, I don't say the whole group, because the whole group doesn't represent the bad apple. And 9 times out of 10, that bad apple was somebody that infiltrated that group to give the group a bad name, to sow discontent, so they could use misinformation to keep people blind when they decide, oh, let's just put this all in your face and give you all this lovely tech and toys and tools, whatever, that without the instruction manual, that you won't realize what you're doing, how we can use to manipulate you. So when these people actually speak up about it or talk about it, oh, they're evil, so we're not going to listen to what they got to say. When many of them have been speaking out for decades about these very same things that is in front of our faces now. But you can't tell people that. People don't view it that way. They've been taught not to. They've been taught to judge. These people are a symbol. And the only thing, and they've been taught this symbol represents evil. And everybody that's in that group label is just that. And that's not true. And that goes for every spectrum of it. I know good Muslims, I know good Christians, I know good Jews, I know good Catholics, good pagans, and I can keep going down the various hundreds of labels out there, many of which I have friends of, from all these different communities. We'll use communities, it's a little bit easier. I don't judge them by that. That's not why I talk to them. Not why they taught me many things. I've learned many things from them. Things that help me see things for what they really are, and not the illusion that most of people want to live in and believe in as reality. It's how I know when I see an image not to give it meaning or power. Or when I hear something that just don't sound right, I know, let me go research that a bit. And yes, it's gotten to a point where now when you go to research something a bit, it can turn to be an all-day, 2-day, 3-day, week event because there's that much. You got one side saying this, one side saying this, you got a group over here saying something completely different. Then you got this group way over here in the back that's, wow, opinions, views, rabbit holes. Nothing wrong with a rabbit hole from time to time, but remember, rabbit holes are also meant to do what? Oh, yep. Keep you going down. Twisting, turning, up, down, sideways, side to side. Distraction. Because then you get all these different opinions and views come up. Next thing you know, they use that to what? Oh, yeah, let's see here. Fake news. Oh, we need to bring in tens of thousands more people to watch. I mean, sorry, not buying into it. I can see a gimmick when I see it, or a con when I see it. Yeah, for those that don't know, I'm referring to the new one, AlphaGate, which that's just underlying tone. They've been after the truth community and other communities as well. Anybody that has an opinion that goes against the status quo. Well, right now the status quo is who knows what it is because it's ever-changing. It's this group of people don't like what this group of people say, so therefore what they're saying is wrong. Well, I can say the same thing about what that group's saying. Instead of sharing the information and letting people decide for themselves. And yes, I agree. There's some things that need to be cleaned up. There is some bad apples. There's always going to be. Any good thing, somebody's going to find a way to manipulate it and do bad things with it. That's society. That's humanity. People don't understand the concept of yin and yang. They don't understand that in your life, you do good things and you do bad things. What sets you aside from everybody else, you learn from those bad things so you don't keep repeating them. You know that's hot. It burns. You're not going to do it again. And there's just some sickos that, okay, that's hot. Oh, that felt good. Let me do it again. Let me find a way to where I can keep feeling it, but it don't hurt. And there's some sickos out there, period. Doesn't mean I'm blaming everybody else. That's, he labels himself to be that. That's how they divide us. I mean, I can go on and on this topic because it's just something people don't get. I mean, I think it's, what do you do? You can sit here and keep telling people this. They're going to hear it when they want to hear it. Might not be their time. But instead of getting caught up in the game, hey, that's all you see. Go do something to make a difference. Be that symbol that wants change. And here's the other misconception about change. You can want change all you want. You can say you're changing. But until you're ready to change, and you can't change the world until you change yourself. Change starts here, with you, before anything else. Then it starts with you living by example. Because you're saying you're doing it, sitting back behind your computer screen, typing away or chatting away. Go out in the community and do it. Become that symbol of what that change is meant to be. You want good in the world? Do good. Go out there and do it. Others will see it. Others will want to help. Don't take everything at face value. Don't take everything so seriously as the Joker. Why so serious? Why? Take a break from the electronics. Leave your cell phone at home, or when you go somewhere, leave it in the car. Don't take it with you. But I want to take selfies and pictures. No. Do a day without that. Just saying. Unplug for a bit. You'll thank me later for it. Better yet, you'll thank yourself later for it, not me. I might get a little scared if you thank me for it. But you'll have me sitting there questioning, oh man, did I manipulate somebody to do something? I say, and that's the other message, which is something I try to be very cautious of. Because the reality of it, I realize that I have people that's going to follow, people that's going to listen. Therefore, I have a responsibility to the things I say and the things that I put out there. which is why I try to keep the message simple. Listen to yourself. These are my views, opinions. You might share some. You might not. That's a good thing, because you realize that that's where you're at in your life. You're not ready to accept or question these things. Or it's a completely different path from yours. That's cool. That makes you unique, not a follower. Don't follow no one. Huge. Those that don't know what I was evilly chuckling at. We are free TV. I was just wondering what you think how religion plays a part. Huge. It does, because that's where a lot of our division stems from. It's not meant to be that way, but it's the way it's taught. That's why I always say I have nothing against religion. It's the dogma. You strip the dogma out of it, then you'll see the truth. Dogma is what controls, makes you fear. That tells you this group's evil because they don't believe in what you want. You know, when we start saying this group's evil, or our view and belief is the only one, oh, that sounds very familiar right now with a certain group, and which a certain group has been a problem for centuries with that same ideology. Yeah, how many C words did we have throughout history? There's lessons to be learned in history as well, but yet we keep repeating them. We keep repeating the ideologies that there's only one belief system. Anybody that doesn't believe this is evil, or the other colorful word that we know quite well today, which goes back for generations. It goes back to, well, you watch last night's stream on Rufacast too? I don't remember if I seen you in the chat room or not. They were talking about Jerusalem. It goes up, and I asked a question in chat, which is I'm repeating something I said. I asked, because from what from Jews that I've talked to, philosophized with, they don't believe that Christ was the Messiah. He wasn't the one. Now, some believe that, yes, Christ was here, but that wasn't their Messiah. That wasn't the Christ. It was the Antichrist. Or, it depends on which group you talk to and how they were taught. But it shows you a difference. The Jews do not believe that, for the most part, they don't believe that Christ, their version of the Messiah, has walked this earth yet. So therefore, you have two opposing views on Scripture, on text. Like most Jews don't recognize the New Testament. So we talk about the Jerusalem, the building of the third temple, the Solomon temple, which would in turn be prophecy. In a Christian sense, the return of Christ is coming. It's upon us. That is one of the signs. But yet we have this group, this people, is getting their part of it, what I would probably consider their land, back. Which, and there was the debate about that. But everybody missed the point You know, why are we debating about two opposing views? Their view can't even come about because the first part of it never happened, where this view, they think this part happened already. I agree on that one. You know, we all have our own beliefs and views. And me personally, I think prophecy is probably one of the most dangerous things out there. And I know it's going to offend some people. Not meant to. Now hear me out. Why? Why, when you have stuff like that that is written, that they say will happen, and you can find this in every culture, in every belief system, when we start dealing with prophecy, you'll have people that's going to try to bring it about to make it happen, and you're going to have people that don't want to bring it about. You're already there. You're starting to cause a division. You're starting to cause an effect to where maybe if that wasn't written, nobody would ever be arguing and fighting over that. Yeah, I see that a lot. You know, I'm the first person to sit here and admit there's truths, lots of truths. And in fact, there's a lot of good moral teachings in the Bible. But that's not the only sacred text out there. That's not the only truth out there. You can find truths in all the sacred text. You know, it goes back to what I had stated, you know. It's just another piece of the puzzle. That's another part of the story that, you know, one group chose to leave out. I'm not saying that's like that for all. In the end, it comes back to how you interpret it, how you perceive it, how it speaks to you, and how you listen to yourself. Yeah, I agree. I think so too, because we know it's, I mean, a certain council, what was it, Council of Nice, I think it was called. You know, when you had this group of Catholics that depicted what was going to be in the Bible, what books were going to be in and what books were going to be left out. Nobody talks about the ones that were left out. You know, like the 5th, 6th, 7th book of Moses, book of Enoch. Oh wait, that's Gnostic, that's esoteric stuff. That's mysticism, cult stuff. Who said it was? Study your history. Who knows what the real text, sacred texts are? I don't. Never going to claim I do. But what is the Bible? The Bible is a symbol. Sorry, it is. It is a symbol. It's the living word, as some people put it. And some people understand that a little bit differently. As I pointed out, the pen is mightier than the sword. I actually agree on that aspect. I found that interesting. Yes, I know some people probably don't get it, because me and them are probably two different worlds apart when our ideology, but Enter the Stars. For anybody that hasn't watched it, and if you're into biblical Christian stuff and how he breaks things down, interprets things, listen to him, check him out. He was actually on the Kev Baker show with Adam Patch Friday, which was shocking to me. You know, everybody's got information. Everybody perceives and views things differently. But some of his videos, I see where he's coming from. I see what he's saying. I'm not going to dispute a lot of the stuff he says. I might dispute how he does his numerology and stuff. But some of the stuff he's talking about, the very people they call evil, they know that. They've preached that. They teach that. You know? But yet, when they talk about it, they're evil. Which brings me back to the label part, how we divide ourselves. There's more than one story. There's more than one perspective. You know, like numerology. They get caught up on numbers like 41, 42, 88, 72. Okay, I've broke this down before. We have frequency, vibration. Vibration is anything that doesn't end in a zero. So when you get 88, 72, 66, 666, and 777, 18, that's the vibration. No meaning, just a vibration. The meaning is when you take 42, 7, 66 is 12. What is 12? 3. 3 is the frequency, the house. Or in any other label they want to use it for. That's the meaning is 3, not 66, not 12, 3. But I don't knock him. Yeah, vibration is fear and love. Because that's not his path. He's still getting the meaning. He's still seeing it as he sees it. Because those of us that know how to do those things, we know how to protect ourselves from the things we encounter when we go farther into it. You know, sometimes not always a good thing for people to have the full instruction manual because they're protecting themselves by the way they do it. That's the way I view it. Other people view it wrong. They're just doing it wrong. No, I say they're doing it wrong as well. Yeah, but in a sense, it's working. Works for him. Might not be the way it's supposed to be done, but he's also protecting himself from the things that can occur when you go farther in the process. But at the same time, sometimes it allows them to misinterpret it. It allows them to give something more meaning than it should have had, or to create a new meaning for it. And that's not what it means. There is a danger there. You're changing the property. You're changing the meaning, which therefore starts changing the information. I mean, yeah, fear and love. I mean, that's, it's the other part. There's many perspectives and aspects of things. Everything has an opposite. Sometimes they have multiple opposites. Love, hate. Fear and love actually go together as well. Because you can use them to change, manipulate. And I know manipulate sounds bad. Change or trigger. What is trigger? Trigger is another form of manipulation. When you triggered somebody, you manipulated somebody. And as I've pointed out, doing videos, talking about certain subjects, certain things, trigger people. So therefore, I manipulated them. Now, some would say that's bad, and some would say that's good. Depends on your perspective. Depends how it was used. What was my intent? Well, my intent, I've been clear about that. My agenda, been clear about that. To make you question, make you think. As far as I care, you can say I'm a crackpot. That's your opinion. Your opinion doesn't have power over me. That's your opinion. Just like my opinions and views should never have power over you. Yes. I fully agree. That's the psychological warfare aspect of it, using all these things I've talked about. You know, using fear porn, clickbait, trending, knowing how to use your tags to put yourself higher in the search to manipulate the algorithms. Every system has those people that's going to abuse it. Then you'll have the people that know how to use the system to convey their message, and they will use aspects of it. Does that make them bad? I guess it depends on the intent. Is their intentions to push misinformation or push their one-sided views? That's where it falls back to. Okay, what do you see? Was you drawn to there for a reason? What is your views? How does it make you feel? Doesn't matter how it makes me feel, I think. Like I said, we don't need police to police our communities. We can do that ourselves. And it's simple. You see that, you know what it is, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to click on it, turn it on. As soon as you figure it out, oh, that was clickbait, leave. But granted, now you might have had to, there might have been an ad that popped up, so you might have just paid them for being on their channel. And that's the greed system. People, they want to make money on stuff. And you know what? And there's a part of me, I don't knock people that want to make money. But if you're going to do that, I want to see good content. I want to see you putting time in, editing your videos, giving me a good quality, not doing the half-ass crap I do. Because then you're getting something out of putting your time. But my opinion when it comes to information, knowledge, wisdom, you can't put a value on that. And you shouldn't. It should be given freely. And with that comes responsibility. The responsibility of making sure you're as accurate and factual as you can be if you're talking about factual stuff. Realizing that you're going to gain a following. You're going to have people that hang on every word you're saying. Realize the danger of that. Know how to diffuse that, so they don't cling to every word you say. So you don't get that one mental case that'll go out there and do something stupid. Why? Because they heard something on your channel. There comes a responsibility when we do this. Not all fun and games. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the hard part, though. Because intentions can be masked. Sometimes you're going to have to sit there and listen to them in every video they put out, months on end, before you see what their intentions or agenda might be. I mean, there's some people that are just that good at doing that. And by then, you've subjected yourself to that information, to that ideology. But now you've got to protect yourself and make sure you're aware of what you're doing and not walking into it blindly. because there are people out there. Oh, so am I. Quite a few. Then sometimes I'm sub to a few that I wasn't until they changed their philosophy, the way they talked, the way they did their stuff, because they got caught up in a label. And it's like, it's not what I was there for. They changed the message. They were, yeah, I don't watch any of them anymore. It makes me sick even hearing them. Because they're just as much as part of the problem when it comes to dividing people. Like I said, information can be very important, very life-changing, and it can be very damaging and destructive. It can change people's views and opinions and the way they live. You know, with responsibility, with information there comes great responsibility. With that, it goes for anything. With any wisdom and knowledge, there comes great responsibility. Yeah, I try not to. I've learned over the years how to tune things out. I get lost in my own little world, become oblivious to what else is going on. Oh, very. And it gets even more dangerous the more technology as it advances. And it's advancing at a fast rate. You know, a few of my friends sat back and had long discussions about this. Things we've seen, things that we were warned well in advance of. And we're watching that stuff come out on the stage. Just, it's like, wow. You know, like I said, I consider my life blessed. I've been around good people that shared information that, prepared me for things that I wouldn't necessarily be prepared for. Yeah, I've learned just it's not worth it calling some people out on it. Just cause arguments. I don't feel it. Don't want the drama anymore. It's like, okay. Now the ones I know, you can kind of talk about things like that, and that goes back to what I say when it comes to researching information. Now let's go play with the word games. Oh, it's gonna make a word game out of words, aren't we? Okay, how can I point these things out and use different words that mean the same thing, but it's not going to trigger the person? You start having to elegantly word things to where it don't trigger, to where it just plants that seed, so next time they're seeing something that it registers, like something's not right. Sometimes that's all you can do. That's the best way to do it, because it's not worth that they're arguing and fighting about. It's not. I've seen enough of that this year. It comes back to, I finally gave in, and sure, Rob will be happy to hear me say, yeah, you're right. Yeah, can't help everyone. Sometimes you just gotta let go and walk away. Because some people don't want to be helped. They're not ready for it. Yep, and that's where he would tell you, it's not worth it. Me, the stubborn side of me, gonna keep doing what I'm doing because there's still people out there. You know, we still got new generations coming up that aren't being taught real history, not being taught real things. So it's important that we keep doing what we're doing. You know, it's there. The information's there, guys. You know, might not mean nothing to you at this point in time, but hey, if you sit through and listen to this much of it, maybe later down the road when you experience things in life, something will cause something to trigger inside you, and you're going to remember, well, I can't remember who it was, but some podcast. They were talking about this very same thing. I didn't get it then. I get it now. That's why I still feel it's important to continue to try to wake the dead, like as you put it. Because when we stop, that's like giving up hope. You know, we're giving up the notions of the things we stand for, we believe in. And when we start doing that, we become silenced. And those causes and movements become silenced. In a sense, we become subjugated. We submit. I, for one, I'm not a submissive type person. And that's a good, I mean, it won't. I mean, sometimes it's a necessary. But also realize, maybe sometimes something I realized this year, taking a break. Sometimes it's, let's just take a break. I don't not do any videos for a couple of months. Here's why people don't do that. Because when they do, their fear is they won't have all the people tuning in and following them. They'll lose subscribers or followers when they do that. There's too many people out here doing the very same thing. It's okay to take a break. It's called a vacation. Call it a Sabbath if you want. A walkabout. Sabbatical. Whatever you want to label you want to give it. There's always somebody out there that steps up and does the same thing. And truthfully, I came back from my little break, and it was a blessing. I got more people listen, more people are commenting. It didn't happen overnight, Some of the people that originally watched, I haven't heard from. It's okay. I'm not here for that. I'm not here to stroke my ego. I mean, you've seen my sub count. I mean, and 3 of those are me. Does it bother me? No. Why? Because I have different perspective on things. I view things differently. One, I get to sit here and enjoy conversations with my audience, which is important to me. The interaction, because we learn from each other. We learn from each other's experiences, wisdom, and knowledge. We teach each other. The other reason is why get caught up in the numbers game. If you have a message, that message will be heard by those that it's meant for. And it might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might be 10 years from now. It's still there. So I view things differently. I've had good people in my life. I've had bad people in my life too. But I've learned from the bad as well. It's a learning experience. That's why I give Be Rich a lot of credit. I learned a lot from him by watching how he did his podcast, how he did his shows. In a sense, he was a role model, but I also did the same thing when I was on Twitch in the gaming community. I watched how they did their stuff, learned the mistakes they made, and learned from my own mistakes along the way. This is why sometimes I've done experiments. Like on here, I've experimented and showed you guys my experiments. How when you play with trending words, how your stuff will trend a little bit. or how your view count here doesn't match what it matches on the Minds, Gab, and Twitter and Facebook. Why is these got more views than it's staying here in the analytics? So I sit there and experiment sometimes, and I'm open about it when I do. You know, just like when I've made it clear when I was using trending words. I'm doing an experiment. I'm the taglines for trending in my description. You know, it's how we've caught things and how things with censorship work. You know, it's how we caught that that even live chat is monitored and censored. We caught that live, which is why I've come to now, when people are actually chatting in my live chat, that's what I show. Just like I've learned, it's easy to get flagged by sharing pages and stuff. Why? Because there's advertisements on pages, there's logos. Logos are copyrighted. There's pop-ups that come up. So I try not to do that. The other thing I don't try not to do, and sometimes it gets hard, try not to bash other people's channels because they have their own belief, their own ideology. Right. You know, sometimes that's where I would say, you know, sometimes let's put ourselves in their shoes. Like before you actually came out, I referenced, you know, there's good cops, there's bad cops. One thing's for certain, I would never want to walk a day in any of their shoes. Because that's, you know, they put their lives on the line every time they go out that door, whether it's good or bad. And know thyself. I know me. See a dude beat his wife, yeah, I just couldn't be a cop. I'd be in jail. Why? Because it's just how it is. I'm not that lucky of a person that the system will protect me because I wear that badge. I would be the one they use to make an example of. That's my luck. I know that. And I don't push that envelope. Nor am I going to put myself in a situation where I know myself. I know I can't. I see that, and I know how I want to react to that. It wouldn't be by slapping the cuffs on them. So I could never be a cop. In a sense, I think the same way. I mean, because I can interact with you. When you start getting 20, 30, 40, 50, you know, I can slow my chat down, but I can't slow my stream down. So I can't interact properly. You know, when you get 10, 15, 20 people there, it's not moving that fast. So you could easily follow chat, conversate with you guys. And that's me. I enjoy that more than just coming on here and just rambling like I still do. You know, I wish, you know, people could do. And part of me does wish people could do, like, make money on being able to do things like this. Because there is a way not to abuse it. I mean, we look at Be Rich for an example. We know he works, he's got a family. You know, we also know that, breaking news, he is another part-time job. So in his sense, in his case, I can see why he'd want to be able to make money. Because, you know, his real job goes for paying the bills and going towards the family. This part-time job, it is a business, he has a license for it, needs revenue, and that you just can't afford to take from your real income. You know, it should be able to sustain itself. People should have the right to be able to turn this into a business. But with that comes, I want to see good content. I want to see you putting the time in, editing your videos, being professional. I mean, that's you putting the work in and earning it. No, I don't believe information should be sold either. Information is meant to be given freely. So so there is that catch-22, and it does shift one way or the other on how you view it. But at the same point, we know the bads that come with it. One, your speech is controlled. Because you talk about certain subjects, they can say, well, if you talk about these things, you'll lose your monetization. So you're giving up freedoms. You're giving up your right to express yourself in freedom. Some people will do that just for the money. Because it's now about the money and not the information. Now, matter of perspective. It's a matter of how you view things. With anything and everything we've talked about, we can find the good, the bad, the pros and cons. Because information to be just as much as disinformation depends on the perspective, depends on the intent behind it. Some information is intentionally used to divide people. Just like using images, thumbs up, thumbs down, any of the emotes. They're meant to show emotion, reaction, and triggers. Meant to trigger somebody that you're feeling this way because somebody said something. Because in the end, we'll go back to the question that I asked in my description. What is more powerful, money or words? Truth is, words. I don't care how rich and wealthy you are, the person that knows how to use his words can bring that person, that rich, wealthy person, down to their knees, can discredit that person. Yeah, that's not just this platform, it's every platform. Even Gab. You want to do live streams on Gab? Pay. But here's the thing. What happens when what you're talking about offends somebody and they go complain? Then they get enough other people that are like-minded to themselves and they start complaining. How much freedom do you really have? Even though you're paying them. I mean, like I said, read the terms of service. Read the guidelines. Understand the words. Or the lack of words. Most importantly, understand what third party means. And that just because it's one third party, that third party has a third party to itself, and then the third party, those two third parties have another one to itself. It's all interconnected. Yeah. And I've stated this in various videos I've done. I'm not everyone's cup of tea. Never going to be, never will be, don't want to be. I'm me. I'm unique in my own little way. Just like We Are Free TV is unique in own little way. He does things way different than I do. He has a different message. We agree on a lot of things. I haven't found anything I disagree with that you've done yet. But I'm also human. Eventually, you're going to do something that maybe I disagree with. Am I going to unsub from it because of it? No. Because I know everybody disagrees on something. I mean, like me and him, we obviously disagree on the money-making aspect of this. I mean, but as I pointed out, there's things I agree with what he says on it. It's how you use it. What is your intentions? And it's hard to tell what people's intentions are. It's hard to tell what a person's agenda is. And we get caught up in that so much. Exactly. I'm actually more happy when people disagree. It gives me something to do. Oh, what do you guys probably think? What do you mean by that? It's simple. Why does that person disagree? Did I get something wrong? Did it make me want to go re-research my research? Why did it come off that way? Is it something I said or how I said it? You know, it makes you think. It makes you question. Does he know something I don't know? Or does she know something I don't know? And that, for me, is what it's about. That's my only intention, my only agenda, is to make you question, make you think. Not agree, but think and question. How's it resound with you? You know, yeah, sometimes it's the best thing to do is agree to disagree sometimes. Because it also goes back to what I've stated. Everyone has experienced life differently. They grew up differently. They've experienced things. What works for me might not work for you. More likely what works for me is really not going to work for you. We're all unique that way. You know, I can watch a video of a guy tearing a part on a car apart 100 times, watch how he does it. I go to do it. It might not work for me. Even though the process should be the same, I just might not have the exact tool he had, or I might run into a problem that he didn't run into. See, sometimes it's good to think outside the box. And realize that not everything is going to work. Not everything is going to work the way it works for this person. It'll work for you. You know, that's just part of growing and experiencing things. For me, simplicity kills. Something simple I'll get hung up on. Give me something complex and I'm more than likely going to breeze right through it. But in the end, guys, I don't know what you'll take from this because I bounced back between 3 different topics and added a few in, and you know me. Pretty much will stay on topic. It's just the day and age we live in. There's so much information. There's just so much stuff. In the end, it comes down to you. How you interpret, how you perceive it, how it speaks to you. Listen to yourself. Let yourself guide you. In a little voice, whatever you want to call it. Just listen to yourself. It'll show you the way, and sometimes it'll show you down that long, crooked road to get there the hard way, because there's something there that you need to see or experience before you can grasp something. Just understand that everything that's in front of you can be used for any various reasons, for any various intent. Don't take things at face value. Understand that words are powerful. So are symbols. Understand the labels we create also can be used to divide us. Everything I've talked about is just one of the many tools that they've used to divide us, to pit us against each other. And it shouldn't be that way. And I like to be, cheery and not glum about it. It's going to keep happening. We're going to see it more and more. It's in your face every day. The best thing I can tell you. Unplug for a bit, whether it be a day or a couple hours. Well, as the old saying goes, take time to smell the roses. As I've gotten older, I've come to realize how much meaning some of those old sayings actually had. Unfortunately, it took getting older to understand those things. So, not understanding them younger. Ah, see? Like I said, there's plenty of good out there. We just don't see it because everything else is in our face. And that's another tool that they use to keep us divided and pitted against us. They use it as a trigger to depress us, to dull our senses. And like I said, if you can't see the good, go out there and do something good. Whether it's opening the door for the old lady or young woman or young couple or whatever, letting them walk by, or just saying hello to a perfect stranger. You know, especially this time of year. We get so caught up in things. You know, like me, I'm caught up in a few things. And I don't even celebrate the holidays. But I have friends and family that do. I got nieces and nephews. And my mind's been all over the place here of late. Strangers can, yeah, I agree. Goes back to something I said, that my grandfather taught me about messages. Everything has a message. Whether it's the birds, the animals, the wind, even the homeless person that just happens to be walking by talking to himself, that you just happen to hear clearly, even though he's across the street. But you heard him say something. That little message was meant for you. It triggered something in you. Strangers are strange things because sometimes they come into our lives by coincidence, as some would put it. I don't believe in coincidence, but they come into our lives just out of the blue, and we don't question why. But somewhere, somehow, they had an impact. Why? Because we remember something from them. Like, why all of a sudden, for some reason, I remembered something from one of my exes that I admired about her, how she would do things. Why? Because I was thinking about the same thing I think every time this year. We see all this negative stuff in our face, and we start looking for good things, people doing good things, and we don't see it because it's not being shown. That's not what they want to show us. And just thought came to my mind. It's like, oh, go out and do something good, or just go out and do something and tune out. For me, it was a 20-mile cross-country skiing. That helped me get out of that mood. Everybody's different. I'm not saying I'm completely out of it. I've got a lot of stuff going through my mind, different things. That's normal for me, though. Worst question you can ever ask me, what am I thinking? Yeah. I brought that up, too. Just a lot of the preppers that talk about prepping and all this. And we know, the ones that really understand it and get that. A lot of people that say that, have these YouTube channels that say these things, they've never experienced things. And the homeless will outlive them because they experience it every day. Every day they're in the elements. They know what it's like to go days without food. Yeah, I think a lot of us don't do that because we always remember the bad things that happen, that, the heart breaks. And when we did follow it, it just didn't go the way we thought it was going, so we tune it out. It's the wrong thing to do. Huh? Trust me, my ex, it took her years to beat that down my thick skull, where I actually listened. Because, we were best friends forever. And I just wouldn't follow because I've had bad experiences. And I learned just wouldn't go with it. Listen to it. They've taught us not to. They taught us when something hurts you to block it. Yes, it is, especially this time of year. It should be all the time of year, but, like the old saying, home is where the heart's at. Very true. I can rest my head anywhere and it be home. Just like you brought up another thing about strangers. It's funny how sometimes we'll be more open to perfect strangers than we are to our loved ones. Why? Because we know that person will never see us. So we'll talk about things we don't normally talk about. Which is another reason why I enjoy doing what I do here on YouTube. Making new friends, expressing new views and ideas, learning from other people. It's the information that we share with each other. In life, it is what we make of it. How we choose to react or not react to things. How much power do we give certain things? My title, everything comes back to power. What we give power and meaning to. No word should ever hurt you. Because when it does, you're giving somebody else control over you. You know, that's the problem with a lot of things. We get dulled down to, you know, oh, you said this. That's offensive. Well, if you took offense by it, you probably need to start questioning yourself why you let me have power over you. Be thankful it was me and not some of the other people I know who would use that against you. Oh wait, people are doing that already. They don't even have to do it because you allow other people to do it, you know. It's the illusionary puppet masters pulling illusionary strings. When in truth, it's their very strings that are being pulled because they're living in an illusion. The reality is a lot of people don't give them that power. Oh yeah, probably by the beginning of the year, some of that's going to get cleaned up. Because here of late, a few have kind of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Not liking the information that's being put out there, and starting to see maybe they'll see the agenda and intent for what they really are. But that's my opinion. Also, I've learned about in life. There is such a thing as allowing toxic people into your life. And people don't understand. They have an impact. Anybody you let in has an impact into your life. You know, it could be they view something different. They keep posting things that you don't agree with. That's, you know, or you're just tired of seeing. And it's time to remove that from your life. Learn it. You feel a lot better when you do. I mean, there's some people that, you know, best thing you do is cut the strings, remove them. And I've been thinking about cleaning up some of my subscriptions on here. But when I do that, I'm not going to announce it because that's my opinions and my views. They might not necessarily match some of yours. You know, I'm into a lot of things. I listen to a lot of different views and opinions and different aspects of things, where most people would never venture to, or would ever be drawn or have an interest into. Yeah, what is the objective at the end of the day? You know, I know what mine is. I've clearly stated that one. You know, and the more I watch certain people, I start seeing there. Yeah, what's a day? What is time? I mean, why do we call that red instead of purple? Somebody, why? Because somebody said it was so. Huh? Okay, you say it so. Well, it's me. Today might be Saturday, but it's Sunday over somewhere over there in Europe. Why? Because somebody said it was so. Because we have an international timeline that says it's so. Why do we have that international timeline? Well, somebody thought we needed it. Where's that? Where's my coffee cup, half full or half empty? That just depends on your perspective. I'd like to think my coffee cup's overflowing all the time. Because in a sense it is. Why? Because at some point I'm going to get up, go downstairs and put more coffee and fill it back up. Or I'm just going to open this pop that's been stepping up here the whole time I've been doing this discussion and drinking the coffee and ignoring the pop. We all have our unique ways and perspectives on things. And this, what We Are Free TV is pointing out is how many have actually questioned that? What is a day? What is time? Is the sun up? Is the sun down? Nobody questions those things. Nobody questions why we say the apple's red and not purple or green. Wait, there are green apples, so that's a bad analogy. But why is it green? Oh, somebody said so. You start doing that for a lot of things, it'll free you up a little bit. Yeah, what if you don't drink coffee? Well, a couple of my friends will say the water you drink's coffee. I mean, what is water? Why do we call water water? You know, I can get into symbologies of the days if you'd like. Why do we name our days after planetary attributes? But we're not going to get into that. That's for another channel. The point is, we don't question those things. We don't question why this word means this. Why this word, there's no definition or meaning for it in another language. But yet, we translated everything from this language to this one, but yet we don't have those words. Yeah, I disagree on that. There will be people that will find this channel that can be like-minded and open-minded enough to hear those things. So I would get subs. You emphasis on the some part. But then again, who cares? It's just me being respectful to not put those things on this channel. You know, that's me showing respect to others. Because I know most people don't want to hear about those things. Another beautiful thing about YouTube, I can have more than one channel. Or I can choose just to say screw it and have one channel and talk about whatever I want and not care. But I do care some. Because some things, I firmly believe, aren't meant for certain people. You know, deeper. KOTR, Drew Lima, Smiley 13, Smiley I think, or just Smiley. The other two are just, Drew Lima is the backup channel to this one. Smiley was the gaming channel, which I made just been using it for a backup to KOTR. Even though you'll find stuff that I've got on KOTR on Drew Lima. Drew Lima was my second channel. Smiley was my first. And with that, I'll give a warning to anybody that wants to go look up KOTR. If you don't like esoteric, cultish things, that channel is not for you. That's all you'll find on that channel. For those that are open-minded enough, you may learn something there. There's a video on there that I'm thinking about actually editing. It's over 4 hours long, and actually bringing it to this channel. And it's similar to what we're talking about tonight with power words, information, and symbolism. Except for it was more psychological warfare, spiritual warfare, dealing with symbols, sigils, memes. Because it's important. That's what you guys are facing every day. That's what's in your face every day. But in my own way, I find ways to talk about it on here. And keep most of the esoteric ideas out of it, philosophies out of it, the formulas out of it. Give me a second. Really? Yeah, I don't think I'm subscribed to it anymore. Yeah, apparently I couldn't even find it using YouTube search, so. actually tells you what they think about that channel. Of course, the fact that I probably haven't done anything with that channel since I've been back from my little break, other than just a couple of videos I uploaded from 2 live streams I did on Facebook. Why keep it out of it? Because it's just too much. People want to argue about those things. You know, it causes division because it's what they're taught. It's evil. You're an elitist, as some people put. Mind you, this is some of the people that I actually follow say these things. And that's where I talk about the dangers of, and danger and responsibility of YouTubers. Because you project those things onto your audience and you give them your opinion, because that's what it is, as fact. As I've pointed out, well, some more information in symbols and words. Okay, we have esoteric, the occult. We have magic, paradigms of magic. Anybody know what they are? A spiritual model, energy module, psychological model, chaos module. All paradigms, all things we have every day in our life. Psychological, energy, spiritual, whether it be Christian, Judaism, Tibetanism, Mayan, Egyptian. Oh, he has a wand, Athame. Do you know what they are? Do you know they're training wheels? Do you know they're just used for focal points? An image, a symbol, to relay the information of how the properties are installed, how they work. Yes, you want to know something about something? Don't listen to what somebody else has to say. Go research it. Listen to yourself. And I'm the first person who's going to sit here and tell you that path is not for everyone. Because you have to have an open mind. You have to be able to question things, including know thyself. It means questioning everything you think you perceive and know, because it's everything you've been taught. When we talk about the destruction of the temple, which is the initiation process, there you're learning to destroy those false ideologies, false beliefs. Learning to have an open mind, that everything has a meaning and a message. Everything has knowledge and information. Learning that it's not black and white. There's no color, as people like to say, oh, that's black magic. No, it's a person's intent that makes something what it is. And what was that person's intent? Because now you're dealing with energy, certain types of energy. And it's just a huge thing that people just don't know. I mean, symbology, symbols. Where do you think math comes from? Where do you think psychology comes from? Astronomy. We gave them new names. Let's use the medical field. pharmaceuticals, pharmacists, chemists. Is that not alchemy? Where do you think that process and formulas came from? Coding, alphabets, understanding the alphabet, the numerology with attached to the alphabets, the coding, the aspects. What is coding? Coding is nothing more than using magical squares to create something, or using numerics to create something, using language to create. You want to know what the only illusion of it is? We let you believe what you believe already. Why? You fear it. It's secrecy. What is secrecy? Not what most people think. They misinterpreted something. They changed something. Silence. What is silence? Well, silence is creating without speaking. Much what you guys are doing right now with the internet, with images, the information you put on here. You're creating silently. You're thinking it. You might be typing, but you're still creating it. On the same token, has there been bad apples? Oh yes, there's been some real sick psychotics that's given it a bad name. But research. What is a pagan? What is a heathen? What is a heretic? Research it. Truthsayer, or not truthsayer, free thinker. That's where the root origin comes from. When you break everything down to its root origins, where it first appeared in history. Free thinkers. Free thinkers opposed the Catholic Church. Why? Because they question. They wouldn't adhere to the dogma. It's all right there. Research it. Most people don't take the time. They only believe what they're told. They don't know where certain origins of words came up. That's why you don't understand how much power you give words. I have a unique way of being able to bring that information to this channel and keep everything is an art. Everything we do is an art. I mean, just like people talk about sacred geometry and symmetry or synchronicity, it's everywhere. You know, just like people, when you start looking for symbols and signs, you will see it everywhere. Why? Because it is everywhere. Everything you watch, you'll see it. Why? Because you're looking for it. Is it necessarily, is that what it was there for, meant for, means? No. Do people use it and put it in stuff? Yes. Those that understand this stuff, they see it. They instantly know to tune it out, block it, give it no meaning, no power. That's the thing some of us have been trying to teach you guys forever, to protect yourself so you can't be manipulated and used and deceived. You know, like I laugh sometimes. You hear people calling people those that are in the shadows. Well, they're in the shadows for a reason. Not everything happens in broad daylight in front of your eyes. Things are happening in the shadows. There's been a shadow war going on for centuries. There's been people that come up and try to teach you guys to protect yourselves against this stuff so you're not being divided and manipulated and used. Hard to do that when, oh, you believe in that, so therefore you're evil. You're an elitist. I wish I was an elitist. As I pointed out, you know, some people can do good with money. Now, I wish I had all that money you say we have. And I'm not no elitist. I can't stand them. But I'm willing to bet that some that we call elitists are actually good people trying to do good things. Why? Because That's the way things are. There's good people everywhere in every group, every label. Doesn't make up for all the bad, because in those type of cultures, that's where the opposite happens. You have the good outweighs the bad, or the bad actually outweighs the good, and all we see, it's everywhere. You got to judge a person by their actions and their deeds, how they hold themselves and do things, not by what they believe in or what their faith is. Because I could easily spend a whole episode pointing out all the bad things that happen in every faith. It's quite easy to do. No one's perfect. No belief system is perfect. You got people that's infiltrated down as well. People that's going to use them to make money or use them to spread more. Good evening. To spread more of their ideology. It's like, it's everywhere. It happens. But when you point them out in certain groups, yes, you catch all kinds of hell. Just like, that's why I try not to call out anybody. I mean, sometimes it's easier to pick on the one group over the other, just because it's just that easy. Why? Because people have been taught that. Most people haven't experienced people that are of different beliefs, how their communities are. Then they realize when they do experience it, oh, that's not what I've been taught. That's not what I've been told. You guys don't do that. And we just get blamed for the bad apples. One bad apple ruins the whole group. Of course, we've been taught that too. One bad apple will ruin the bushel. Which is not true, entirely true. Yeah, I'm here. Which is weird, because if it did, I don't know about it, because I'm watching my mic and that's weird. I'm not muted. That's weird. See, now here's the other catch, Somebody's watching it, they mention it, because we've had it happen. And not just me, I've heard other people talk about it past week. Mic issues. I've actually heard a bunch of mic issues on some of the streams I watch. Makes you stop and want to go look, because I want to know. Just like the last live show, I got disconnected 3 times from a stream. No reason. That's how these It's like I said, power of words, power of information and symbols. The responsibility that we have when we talk about things, when we start talking about other labels, we have to be careful we don't cross that line to cause division. Because then when we do that, we're no better than the very same people we blame for doing it. We become part of the problem and not the solution. Which is in a sense why I chose to keep some things separate from this channel. Because even though that information is in front of your face every day, most people can't hear it, don't want to hear it, don't want to believe it. Just like I talked about my foundation, my upbringing, my Christian upbringing. I was saved, baptized. But yes, then I have the esoteric side. Things that other paths I went down by keeping an open mind. Realizing that there was truth even in there. But I've also sat here and told you that path can be dangerous. Not for everyone. About building up your foundation. Being willing to accept other ideologies, other philosophies, other theologies. That there may be some truths in there. Because you'll begin to find there is a lot of truths in all the different belief systems. Now my mic did stop. Okay, now it's working. Why did all these different groups choose to start bringing up the ideology that there's no truth to be here, they're all evil, it's all bad? There's no other belief system but this. This is the right way. Why do these groups always create this division? Makes you wonder, makes you question. Is there more to the story that they don't want us to see? Why? Because when we start seeing that, we start seeing that the dogma part is what's causing it, what's doing it. Because we start putting all these things together, they lose that control. They can no longer control you through fear. They don't want you questioning anything. That's why I tell you guys to question everything. And listen to yourself. You know yourself better than anyone. You know where you're at in your life. How information affects you. You know what your spirituality is. That's what you listen to, not what somebody else says. If you feel guided and drawn to that, always question. No matter what it is, question. Then say they're awake, say they're open. There's an illusion there as well. You're partly awake and open. You're not fully awake and fully open. If you're fully awake and fully open, you'd see the things that are going on. You'd see the manipulation, what causes the division. You'd question everything that comes in front of you. And even then, you're not fully awake because there's still things you're going to learn and experience. Things that are going to change your views and opinions of things. You're always growing. You're always evolving. What you hold on to now may not be what 5 years, 10 years down the road. You'll see something completely different and have a different understanding of what you thought those things meant then. Why? Because you've experienced it. It goes back to what I asked. Right. Listen, observe, question. There's always room for change. Change is a good thing. Sometimes chaos, what does chaos bring? It brings change. It brings people to question. It brings new perspectives, new ideas, new philosophies. It causes growth. Another way to look at it, balance equals perfect stagnation. Because you're balanced, that means there's no room for growth. You need opposition. You need trials, tribulations to grow. Up until you get to the point where I'm tired of learning the hard way, and you find it's just easy to question everything and do things differently. And once you start doing that, you'll have less trials and tribulations. But you're still going to have obstacles. Why? We need them. It promotes us to change, to grow, to question. So some chaos is good. Some opposition is good. Different views, different opinions is good in your life because it makes you question, makes you think. If you're open, if you're actually awake, and just not claiming to be. If you are, you're questioning everything that comes in front of you. Every ideology, every philosophy, every theology, and all the other colorful labels we want to use. Then you'll start seeing things differently. Then you might not go down a rabbit hole that everybody else is going down because you see it for what it is. It's like, trick no good. Find some other sucker. I see it for what it is. You know, that's what I kind of love about this town, though. It gives me the freedom to jump around from categories and categories, from labels to labels, Because in the end, I believe what, our forefathers believed in the Constitution, and common sense, it's black and white. You have the freedom to believe in what you want, to express yourself. You want to be this or that, you're free to do that. You're free to express that. What happened to that? Why did we get so caught up in that? Exactly. Yeah, and that's how we learn. It's good to be wrong, as long as you can admit it, because you learned from it, you know? You learned that's the most important thing, sometimes being wrong and stubborn about things. Well, not stubborn. Stubborn's bad. Stubborn's just, like I said, probably class stubborn right up there with ego. Oh, wait. Stubborn is there right up there with ego because it's one and the same. There's good teachings about being humble. Being humble is actually very hard. Because when we're humble, we don't accept credit for things we do because we're being humble. We're being meek. We're not feeding the ego, which is completely opposite what society teaches us. Society teaches us to be egomaniacs, to be, I'm not even going to try. I'm not doing good with big words today. Megalomaniacs. Or, as some put it, the God complex, ego. Right, have fun. Laughter is probably one of the most, ranks up in the top 5 when it comes to energy and emotion. Laughter is contagious. Laughter can manipulate and change a person's mood from being sad to happy. See, you guys use this stuff every day and don't realize it. And it's simpler. Sometimes it's simple. That's what kills me. Simplicity. Would have been so much simpler just to point that out. What Dempsey dude just pointed out. I hope I pronounced that right. I've been refraining from pronouncing the name because, yeah, I suck at it. You know, where the simplest thing is laughter. It's the easiest thing to do. Even laughing at yourself because of a stray thought. Who cares what other people think? Yeah, I'm crazy. So what? I mean, if you just realize what I thought, you'd be laughing too. You know, laughter is needed. You know, in a sense, we can look at all the stuff that's in front of us and we can just laugh at it. What are you doing when you do that? Well, one, you're taking the meaning away from it. You're taking the power that away from it, and you're giving it no meaning and power. You're just laughing at it. You're taking control. That's the power of laughter. It's the power of emotions. Every emotion can has a cause and an effect. It's all information. If people would talk more about these things, and I blame the other community for that, for hiding behind their so-called vows of secrecy and stuff. Because it's a lot of those very same tools that are being used against us. Very same terminology that certain groups decided to change the name of, but yet the practice continued. Science is nothing more than cultism. Pharmacists, chemists are nothing more than alchemists. Astronomers are nothing but astrologers. They just changed the name, give it a little bit different meaning. Like I said, what is blockchain AI? Coding, magic squares, and I can go on and on. What are geomancy, and all on where everything falls into. When you code, you're creating. When you speak, you're creating. When you write, you're creating. When you type, you're creating. They don't call spelling spell for nothing. The art of creation, creating something, giving it life, giving it meaning, giving it power, or taking it away. But hey, talking about those things and having knowledge of those things makes me evil in some people's eyes. I'm cool with that. Why? Because I know myself. I'm not. about choices on how you choose to use the information that's before you. It's all about the choice that you're going to make that turns out to be what your intentions are for that. You know, can't please everyone. And why should I? The only person that I need to please is myself. And I live with the choices I have made. For every choice, there's a reaction and consequence. And sometimes that choice you might think is, you believe wholeheartedly is good, but it just, yeah, consequences of it don't seem so. As some of my friends like to say, no good deed goes unpunished. So that seems to be the world we live in. Let somebody in while you got a green light, because you want to be nice, so let them out, and you catch the red light. Hold the door open for somebody, and somebody slams it in your face as you're going to walk in. Eh, it happens. That's part of life. Does it mean don't do that? No, it means keep doing it. Why? Because you're not there to appease somebody else. You're doing a good deed and gesture for somebody else, making their day easier. And who knows, that person may be having a crappy day, and that little gesture just changed their mood. Simplest things, the things I struggle with. Simplicity. It's easier for me to take complex, make games out of them, trying to find a way to simplify them. How to bring this information, enlighten you guys to it. What you're being force-fed or given without instruction manuals. More and more things we're starting to see. It happens. It's like people don't understand how the crowd can become the mob. How certain chanting, the beating of the shields, the caps do. There's all symbology behind it. There's energy, frequency, vibrations that causes a reaction. You know, there's a reason why certain people infiltrate groups, get them to chant certain things, where it becomes almost hypnotic. It draws people in. It can incite. It changes people's moods. You know, for anybody that was into house music, drum and bass, music can be a lesson because it's the vibration that people are drawn to. It can make you happy, sad, calm, angry. Much like I pointed out, a picture. Picture is nothing more than a symbol, symbology. It's used to, 20 years from now, you look at that picture and you remember. It triggers, it recalls that memory that you had forgotten. But you do get bad people that use that to manipulate, to use that to control. But how do you know these things if somebody don't tell you these things? They don't point these things out, make you think and question. You know, because you were taught these things. You were taught that these things are bad. So there, you hear somebody talking about it, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Oh, they're evil. They're bad. Division. Like I said, it's what you take. Learn to listen to yourself. Learn to question. Learn to think. Be free thinkers. Don't listen to what I say, but question what I say. And think for yourself. Do I have all the answers? Hell no. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm still experiencing things. I have experience, and that's what I fall back onto. I have knowledge and wisdom through experience. How do you get wisdom? Experience. By experiencing the things, experimenting how they affect you, how they affect people around you. Well, with that comes responsibility. With that, you need good morals, good foundation. So that when you do things and say things, that your intent is its purest form. Not there to manipulate or deceive or whatever you want to try to do with it. Because there's consequences to even that. And you will be answerable to those things by various people, or, when that day comes, eventually we're going to find out who's right or wrong anyway. Till then, why are we arguing about it? Why are we allowing it to divide us? We might all find out we were all wrong because we believed that this story was the only story, when in fact, it was meant for us to search and put the whole story together, just not the little piece, but the whole story. Like I said, there's more than one story. There's the conquered version. You only hear about the victory. You never hear about the guy that finishes second or third. It's he who conquers. It's his story. That is remembered. That's what is written. Then you have the conquered, the story that is passed down from generation, from culture to culture, by word and mouth. Sometimes found in journals, sometimes written, most of the times only spoken. Yet another version of the story. Funny we call it his story. His story. Sometimes we forget what history even said, how when nations were conquered, how they took on, the conquered took on the views, the beliefs of the conquering nation. Why? They were forced to. Those that didn't, oh wait, later down the road we coined terms for that. Heathen, heretic, pagan. We create labels to divide, conquer. To mislead. Just like I pointed out. I don't know why I never thought about it. We talk about the Matrix. So many people do. The red-pilled. People that call themselves red-pilled. Okay, let's relook at the Matrix. You take the red pill, all the illusions and all the deception comes fading away, correct? What happened in the Garden of Eden? They ate the apple or the forbidden fruit, and all knowledge was given. They seen everything for what it really was. No more illusions, no more veils. Now they see the nakedness, they see the lust, the sin, as they put it. So when you took that pill, did you not just eat that red pill? Did you just not eat the forbidden fruit? Another way to look at it. Am I right about it? No, I don't know. It's just a thought that occurred to me, and it makes sense. Because not the only time we've seen it. Let's go back to the 70s Star Wars. Look at the color of the lightsabers. Oh yeah, I know. I'm going to catch hell for that one. Well, look at it. The symbology. The red saber, the blue saber, the green saber. Left, right-hand path. I've always questioned the red thing because, like I said, let's go back to the 70s. The red lightsaber represented what? Vader, evil. dark side. I don't know. Food for thought. Makes you question it. Makes you think. I don't know. I don't know if I could wish that upon myself. It would be interesting to see what history does say about those years, those times. You know, just from watching what we've seen transpire. Common Core, the removing of history. What is another name for Common Core? Oh, book burning, that's right. The removing of history and knowledge and information. Because it went against an ideology. Because it would steer people away and stop them from being free thinkers. Because that information was no longer available. Common Core is nothing more than book burning. I'm sure we go back a few centuries before that, we'd find another label for the same thing. Oh, wait, there is. It's Latin. I can't remember the actual pronunciation. It's where the one pope had everything defaced, removed from history, eradicated. It was to a temple of a pagan god. It was removed. Every text they found burnt. Can't remember the Latin term. It's been a while. And it's probably happened before that. Every time a nation conquers a nation, do they not do the same thing so that their ideology is the ideology? I personally think I was born in the wrong century. I love the great philosophers, to philosophize about everything and anything, talk about theologies and stuff. It was just a talk. We learned from each other. New inventions and things, new ideas were created from it. Do that today, and so many labels would come at you, it's not even funny. Or, oh, you offended me. No, people don't like my answer to that. Good. Did I make you think and question? Why'd I offend you? Why'd you give me power over you? Even better. Exactly. And it does. Every time. I mean, we can use modern day time. Let's use modern day time. Look what ISIS did and the areas they conquered, how they were destroying archaeological monuments, anything that did not depict their ideology. And that's what it is. It's not a religion. What they were doing is not religion, it's ideology. There's a difference. You know, we see it everywhere. Let's look at North Korea, South Korea. How is it that South Korea has prospered, but yet North Korea stays the same? Yeah, all that knowledge burned and lost forever. There used to be a time, World War II to be exact, where it was forbidden, at least for the Allied forces, it was forbidden to bomb any historical site, any religious site, no matter what it was forbidden. You could not get approved for a bombing run. If you were pinned down in that area, you were screwed. Yeah, best get away from there. We gotten away from that. You know, I actually thought it was interesting. I actually stayed up and watched when President Trump addressed South Korea. I mean, he started talking about their history. I learned things I didn't even know about the history of South Korea, how everyone sacrificed to make it what it is today. People gave up their value, their wealth, the poor, the rich, everyone. They sacrificed to be what it's become today. I mean, wow, that's amazing. You don't hear that happening in the places. And that was actually more recent times than what people think. It was 20th century times that has happened, which, means there's still hope for other countries. But there's a good example of what they did. Where'd they learn that from? Some of those values, I've seen what happened, how this nation was formed here. I mean, not all of it's colorful. There's some dark parts in our history. I mean, we conquered this land. That's the truth. We took it from the Indians. It's just like the concept of slavery was only black. No, that's not true at all. Slavery's been going on for centuries, and it doesn't matter what color your skin is. People that came, some of our ancestors that came over here were indentured servants. What is indentured servitude? Slavery. The only difference was they were actually able to work the bill off, the bill of their passage. Knitting equals nothing. I mean, honestly, I didn't know all that history. It was interesting to hear that said. It was also interesting to hear it, but because last Back up? Okay. Huh. Guess that must be a topic that I shouldn't be talking about. Back up? Okay. Guess that's a topic I shouldn't be talking about. But you guys get the point. You know, in a sense, we can see, if I was in position to play a little grand chess, that's the perfect move to make, because it's going to cause so much division. We watched it unfold. Still watching it unfold. He is a symbol. In a sense, he is a brand. His name is a brand. There's power in that. I mean, that name alone triggers people. Most people don't realize how it was done. I mean, just like earlier I talked about the Breitbart article, how it got censored on a bunch of platforms where even people that managed to get it up here, their comments were getting blocked until it came out today that it wasn't fake news. Because, Snoop said it was fake news. Politico said it was fake news. Turned out it wasn't fake news. Let's go back to what ABC did 2 weeks ago and caused the stock market to crash 300 points. They later retracted their story. And we hear of, I don't know what CNN did the other day. And it's like, information is powerful. It's like, I see it with people. They believe what they hear because they're taught to believe that reporters tell the truth. People in that position, we hear the word ethics, morals, or sometimes I think I've used it on this channel, office of trust. We hear those things, and we know what happens to a doctor or a lawyer that violates those ethics, that office of trust. They lose it. They can no longer have a position or work in a position. And that felon, convicted felon, cannot hold an office of trust. Ever. I mean, without jumping through some serious loops and hope. I mean, Dr. Kevorkian managed to make a run for it, but he had to get petitions just to be able to run for an office, which, depends on the state. Here in the U.S., some states you can't even petition to have that right back. So it makes you think. Those are the things you should see and question and think. Why does it apply to this doctor? You never have in any medical field, not even as a janitor in a medical office or a hospital. Can't even work for that once he gets violated for breaching that. Lawyer can never practice law, but yet lawyer can do, what's it called, paralegal. But he can never try cases or be the lead in a case. He can only do the work. He can't go to court. But yet we see corruption everywhere. We don't see them when they violate their oath of ethics, or violate their office of trust. We still see them later down the road get elected, and they should lose that office of trust. When they violate that, they should permanently lose that. Why? If you start enforcing those laws that are already there on the books, and you start holding them accountable, it shows other people that's not going to be tolerated. If you come in here and do this, you'll no longer be able to hold an office of trust, which means you'll never be able to work anywhere besides a factory. but yet they create different standards. They're above us. It goes back to what I said. It's a caste system. It's still a caste system. We just call it colorful names, change the labels of it. You know, it's still the kings and queens and nobility running things. We just call them Democrats, Republicans, president. Still a hierarchy. Still a monarchy in a sense. We are the peasants beneath their feet. Yeah, I know. For some people that's kind of harsh, and they don't wouldn't accept that or believe that. But look at it. Celebrities are nothing more than what? Another faction of the nobility. You know, let's call them the dukes. They're not kings or queens or princes or princesses, but they're dukes. They have influence. Well, of course, they're starting to now lose more and more in that. You know, I get a chuckle out of things. How one little tweet or something, what Trump says, everybody's on it. Everybody's triggered. Ever sit back and think he's doing it on purpose? Because I tell you what, some of you Democrats and Republicans, wow. I mean, I knew you were an evil bunch, but wow. Oh yeah, it happens. I'll, that's the other part that kills me. I know for a fact, at least here in the U.S., can't speak for other countries, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. You got cars. Yeah, people with free will saw exactly that. That's what it was. Because if it was me or you behind that steering wheel, oh yeah. It's called vehicular homicide or vehicular manslaughter. Yeah, we're going away for a long time. But that's the other thing that kills me. We'll stop, back to illusion and reality. There's laws in the books that every manufacturer for every car that's made here in the U.S. has to have a kill switch in it. Why do we still see high-speed chases? And for those that might not argue with me, because all that's not true, well, take your vehicle, 2007 or newer, to a shop and ask them to remove it, to disengage the kill switch. Every vehicle has one. Nobody questioned why they pushed for, cars for clunkers things, turn in your clunker for cash, get big rebates on new cars. Nobody questioned that. Why do they want all the old cars off the street? Oh, it's pollution. That's why. We haven't changed their Cadillac converters. We haven't changed nothing in the system, how the car systems run. Still running the same old Cadillac converters from the 70s. Nothing's changed. Nobody questioned it. But yet we'll still see high-speed police chases where they have the ability just to make a phone call and have the kill switch on that thing, which I'm sure they actually have the ability right there in the car to do it. But hey. That's why I never complain about my truck. It's a 1999, no electronics, no power windows. You know, even though they're making it harder and harder to find parts today, there's still junkyards around. Still find parts. I want a new car. Hell no. Especially now as we're starting to advance technology, talking about putting driverless cars or other technology into them. Everything has to be connected to the internet. Keyless entry, remote start, push button start, all electronics. So I don't got nothing wrong with technology in the right hands. The problem is it's in the wrong hands. People that are using it to manipulate and control people. Giving people the ability to put the camera in the back of the car. Car will steer itself and park itself now. You know, hands off. What's that preparing you for? Nobody questions. Nobody questions the agenda. It just looks not neat, cool shit. I don't have to parallel park now. It'll do it for me. Nobody questions. Then we start hearing more and more about self-driverless cars. Guys already got accustomed to it. They used it as a label or an image, showing you on TV how this thing perfectly backs up and parks. Oh, you can have a trailer behind it, Santa's trailer, or Santa's float on a trailer that parallel parks, backs into space, perfect, hands off, hands free. All the while, dulling your senses down, slowly taking a little bit of control that you have, a little bit of freedom you have away. As they're fastly starting to introduce this technology, that self-driverless cars. Here in Ohio, there's actually laws in the books already in place. No driving in cities. Combustible engines. Not being enforced, mind you, but it's there already. I'll have to find that and actually do a video on that one and show you. Because my mouth dropped when I read it, because it was on a whole different law that we're talking about. Right under it, there was that law. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, I'd be interested. I mean, I already know how. Listen, I don't just use Hangouts. I do. I actually have XSplit on this computer. I already know how. I just very seldom get anybody who wants to come on. I'm actually trying to get my dude Chris on. He's really good and can break down the technology stuff, how the AIs and stuff work better than I can. He's just been caught up with a lot of things. So maybe in the first of the year me and him can set something up when he's not caught up with all the stuff he's got going on right now. And I've done a couple earlier in the channel. I've actually done where I've shared the Hangout links so anybody can join in. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't have my green screen set up. I know how to use it. I just don't have it set up. which probably because most of the time I don't like being in front of the camera. From time to time I do it just so you guys can see a face, who's behind it. But I think I've rambled on long enough. I didn't realize it was this late. Imagine that. I like that idea. I've thought about it because I do right now. Some of the people that do want to come on, from where they live, their internet connection's too crappy to actually do this. But like I said, when I do that stuff, I usually go use XSplit because it allows me to use the green screens and stuff and all kinds of fun things, where I can set things up to make it look like we're in a studio and stuff. Which, another form of an illusion. No, right now I'm actually enjoy doing it the way I've been doing it. Just like when I do start getting guests on and stuff, you probably won't hear me say much. I haven't tried that one out yet. I've played around with a few different other software products because I mean with YouTube with the Hangouts we are limited to what we can do. You can't, as far as I know, I can't green screen. Other than having share screens and that, which in a sense I could do green screen because I could use XSplit and share my XSplit screen. I've tried a various software, OBS. I don't use much of the XSplit right now because it bogs my computer down because I don't have the right graphic card for it. If I had the right graphics card, I'd be able to use XSplit more. If I had a better graphics card, I'd be able to actually multi-stream. And I can actually use the fullest potential is the way I got things set up. I'm actually set up on, Restream, where I can multi-stream from Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, YouTube, stream it, a bunch of other places, Hulu. But I am going to end the stream. Like I said, I've been rambling on for a while. Hope everyone enjoyed. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in. And I don't know. It is what it is. In the end, guys, be free thinkers. Take what you get, what I've said, and question everything. Think for yourselves. Don't take my opinions and views as facts, but question. Because, well, I could be wrong on some things. Who knows? Or how I see things might not, due to your environment or the way you're living, might not be the same views. Because that's what in the end, that's what it's about. It's about questioning things, sharing information, sharing our views and opinions, whether we agree or disagree, but learning from each other. To me, that's what it's all about. Interacting, learning from each other, questioning my own ideologies and philosophies and views, learning new ones. Yeah, it's 11:11 here. Only had a couple hours sleep myself. I didn't realize it was this late. Actually enjoyed how fluid the show was going tonight. But yeah. Now, for the rest of you, everybody out there that's watching, have a safe rest of your weekend. Don't get caught up in the everyday stuff, guys. The information overload. Take a break. Enjoy life. Have a little fun. Make a game out of it. You have to. It's good to be found out there. Whether it's you going out there and doing a good deed yourself. Don't always have to be the follower. Sometimes it's good to be the leader and set the example. I will catch you on the next one. Good night, everyone.